Hi, so pin your ears right sides together. And normally you'd use a back stitch, hand stitch technique to do this. I'm doing it on the machine, so here we go. So it's quite a thin seam allowance. I'm using a shorter stitch length because it's a toy, you don't want it to pull apart. That pin. Okay, so I've sewn all the way around the outside, obviously left the bottom open for turning. I snip point off to get a bit of a cleaner shape, and then I snip down my seam allowance. Be careful not to snip your actual stitching, and this just lets the fabric turn in on itself, ready to make a nice flat ear. So turn it out. I use these. So much I use them because they're all bent up and out of shape on the end. Need to get some new ones really. Right. Turn that in through. Right, now I tend to roll the seams to get that nice flat appearance. So when you look at the book and you follow the pattern, it will say to hand stitch a centre line up the middle of the ear, about 2/3 the way up. And it helps it stand up on point. If you're using a sewing machine, because in the instructions it will say make sure the stitching isn't visible at the back, which you can't do with a sewing machine. So you can either hand stitch it, or what I do is I use a coordinating thread, so it's not that visible, but I don't mind, you don't really see it that much. So all I'm going to do now is lengthen my stitch margin just a bit, and then I go 2/3 the way up. The back stitch so the stitching is secure, and that is an ear made. So you can see from the back, if you look really closely, you can see the stitching, but really from a distance you can't see it. And what that does is when you put your ear in position on the head, it helps it stand up nice and tall. I'm going to repeat that for the other ear, and then I'll show you how to pin them the right way around to the head and then make the head.